time. Let's speak to EFF spokesperson Leigh-Ann Mathys, who joins us now for a discussion. A very good evening to you. Thank you so much for your time. You wanted the ANC to ditch the GNU and join an exclusive agreement with yourselves, the EFF. But of course, that didn't happen. New cabinet has been announced. What is your reaction? Hi, Leigh-Ann. Just getting your reaction on the new cabinet. Please, can you unmute yourself, Leigh-Ann, just so we can hear your reaction? If you may just start from the beginning. We didn't get what you were saying.
I didn't realize that I was muted. My apologies. And just a correction, we were not asking for an exclusive government with the ANC. It was more of progressive forces, of political parties. But of course, announcement confirms our long-standing view that this government of national unity was nothing but a smokescreen for the ANC to secure a predetermined grand collision with the racist DA. And what's more concerning about this announcement is the increased and bloated cabinet that is going to put more pressure on our taxpayers. And this was just to accommodate racists and their policies in very high positions of power. But the cabinet also confirms that the ANC has abandoned its historical role as a liberation movement in Africa. And it has solidified that its role as an instrument of white supremacy and domestic and global capital on the continent. And they did this by gifting the DA with 6 ministerial positions and deputy roles as well. So these positions mean that, racists are now in position to implement regressive and neoliberal policies that are further going to entrench poverty in our country. And the rest of the so-called GNU members, they have just rendered themselves glorified spectators, and they have just legitimized the pact between the ANC and the DA.
Leigh-Ann, if I can just ask you to stand back a little bit so we can see you a lot clearer. Yes, perfect. In asking you that, which are some of the ministries which are of particular concern to you as you speak about some of the challenges they're likely to face?
Agriculture, they're deputizing in the finance ministry department. It's education. Those are very key positions, trade and industry, energy, infrastructure development. Those are very key positions. And we know that given how they have been governing in the Western Cape, that who's going to be on the receiving end of their bad governance. It's going to be African people. They have no regard for the role of Africans, who are the majority here in this country.
What impact do you think Siviwe Kgwagube, as the Minister of Basic Education, will have? I ask you this because the President was speaking about the composition of this cabinet, saying there's young people, gender considerations have been made, and that these are people who are heading up departments which will be reflective of South Africans. They'll be able to relate to them.
Well, obviously, she's going to push the agenda of her white supremacist party. Our education system, as it is at the moment, it is not decolonized. So what are we going to expect to see? We are going to have another generation of children that don't know their African history and that is still being taught that Africa or South Africa was discovered by Jan van Riebeeck and those who landed here in this country. So it's not about her personally, but it's about the party that she represents.
Very well.
They also call our children, what do they call them when Western Cape children come to, Eastern Cape children come to the Western Cape? Immigrants in their own country. So that's what we can expect from the Democratic Alliance.
You, as the EFF, raised your hand wanting to become part of the government of national unity, of course, with some exclusions. What role or how much of an impact do you think you would have made as a party as you now are able to see that the cabinet has been unveiled and we know who's occupying which positions?
Well, as you can see how we have even operated as a political party, we are very precise, we pay attention to detail. And the little where we are governing or where we have government positions in local government, you have seen huge changes in service delivery, both in Ekurhuleni and both in Johannesburg. So obviously what we would have brought to the table is that we were going to ensure that we move away from these neoliberal policies that are holding us back. Obviously, the expropriation of land without compensation. Our people remain landless. We cannot have people living on top of each other as they do in Khayelitsha, as they do in Alexandra, as they do in Soweto, and we are going into another administration and we are going to leave the majority of Africans landless.
Very well. EFF spokesperson Leigh-Ann Mathys weighing in there and also just speaking about their reaction as a party.